professional brand. I am Brianna Baker of Bree Brands Consulting. If you have not met, if this is our first time meeting, I am an educator, a business owner, and your all around encourager. And I am so excited for you to join in this challenge. And so this month, I really have focused in on builders. So I want to welcome each and every one of you, all of my builders. You're building something from the ground up. Maybe you're rebuilding, maybe it's already established, and you're just looking to make a few adjustments. I am excited to have you in the room. So, just to clarify, this is not about being cute online. No, we're not doing that. We have enough selfies, we have enough of those, different things of that nature, the memes. This is about building in alignment with your calling. All of us have a particular niche or area of focus, area of genius, our zone of genius. And so we have to really begin to expand that. And how do we do that? We have to begin to zone in on our messaging. And so that's going to make us have to dig a little deeper to figure out our brand identity. And so I want to also share this. When you are assessing your brand identity, you first have to be clear on who you are. You have to be clear on who you are. If you're not clear on who you are, what the product or service that you're getting ready to share with others, it won't be clear either. Yeah, I can speak from experience. It won't be clear either. If you're not clear, it won't be clear. And so through these next series of videos, I want you to reflect. I want you to write and post in the group, or tag Bree Brands Consulting on social media. I want us to build like a pro. So, welcome to day one. Brand identity. Who are you? What is brand identity? It is the soul of your business, not just visuals. It includes beliefs, personality, and values. Guess what? Within the last 2 minutes of you interacting with this video, you have just experienced my personality. You have experienced what I believe, and honestly, in a short snippet, even what I value. And so I want you to ask yourself the question, what do people say about you when you're not in the room? Yeah, what do people say about you when you're not in the room? When you're not there, nobody, when you just leave the room, you know how it is when you leave the room and people are having discussions. What are they saying? I know for me personally, I've heard right after it was already said, the person came back and shared, like, hey, I brought your name up in the room because you're good at such and such, or I brought your name up because somebody said they needed help with blank. That's the type of thing I'm talking about, not the gossiping, but something of value, right? And so, who are you becoming in business and in ministry? Can I tell you that your business and your ministry are not separate? Uh-huh. Yep, you didn't know that, but they are not separate. They are one and the same. What you are doing for people, you should be doing unto the Lord. You should be doing it with the mindset that Jesus is my client. Jesus is my client. So when you go with that mindset, how you serve Jesus is actually a direct reflection of how you serve others. I know it's an ouch moment, even for me. I'm telling you, I'm walking you through these steps because God had to deal with me. It's not separate, it's all in one, right? So you have to recognize your identity of you, so then you can understand the identity of it, which is your brand and your ministry. And so the power of a signature message. Again, we're just laying the foundation of what is it? What is the thing? What is the business? What is the brand? And so we're going to start with the heartbeat. This is, I want you to put your hand over your chest, your heartbeat. That is literally what has us alive right now in this moment. And so the messaging or the meat or the mission of your business and your brand is what people need to know. And so that leads us to our signature message, which is a one liner that tells the world who you help, what you help them do or experience, and the result that they can expect. So when they interact with Brianna, what are they going to get? When they interact with Bree Brands Consulting, what are they going to get? And so as you think about that, let's go into this. I did some research, and this was something that amazed me, and I felt like it would be beneficial for this conversation throughout our building process. And so McDonald's is a well-known brand, right? It's a well-known brand. We know it because of many reasons. Maybe we've consumed it. Maybe we've seen the logo. We know McDonald's. You know that ba da ba ba ba. You know, even when I did that jingle, you know this brand. But did you know that McDonald's foundation was not necessarily about the burgers? Let me take a moment and read this to you. Real estate first, burgers second. McDonald's buys the land or the property. The franchisee rents the property from McDonald's. The sales that are accumulated helps to pay the rent back to the headquarters. McDonald's controls the location, long-term revenue by owning the prime property and leasing it to the franchisee while benefiting from the restaurant side too. So guess what? That's a double portion. So when you really think about McDonald's, we didn't know that behind the scenes they are also a real estate property company. They are able to establish different properties. So every restaurant that we see is owned by McDonald's. You know, there's some other companies, they don't own the buildings that they operate in. Okay. And so I wanted to share that with you because it's very important to know that sometimes what we see on the outside is way, way deeper once we get to know the history. So the messaging really comes from this. I help if I was the McDonald's owner or operator, right? Of like I own McDonald's, the CEO, I would say it like this. I help franchisees run successful restaurants by providing prime real estate and a proven business model so they can generate consistent profits and build lasting wealth. There are many, many franchisees that I have seen, especially within my area. And it's just an amazing thing to think about. Like, it's way deeper than the burger. It's literally about generating wealth for not just McDonald's, but even for that franchisee. And another way you could say it is we help investors and franchise partners across high traffic real estate and a world renowned brand so they can operate thriving businesses and achieve long term financial growth. Again, no matter which way you say it, that one liner is a signature message. That's that summary of what McDonald's focus is. And so the power of a signature message. The formula that we're using is I help blank, which is your target audience, to do or experience, which is their transformation, so they can, and then they get a result. Let me say it again. I help, and you say your target audience, do/experience, what is their transformation, so they can, and then you give a result. So let's break it down by industry. What I did not share at the beginning is that I focus on assisting coaches, authors, podcasters. Overall, those are the three industries that I have worked with heavily. However, this is relatable to whatever brand. As you just saw with McDonald's, that's the food industry. So no matter what industry you fall in, this is a relevant formula to solidify your signature message. So let's first talk to the authors. All of my authors, drop A in the chat. Drop a book emoji in the chat if you're an author or an aspiring author. Drop that emoji now. So if you're an author, you're not just selling a book. You're inviting readers into a transformation or experience. Here's an example. I help women in transition rediscover their voice through inspirational books so they can rebuild their confidence and reclaim their identity. I have a client currently who has written a book, Reflections, Pieces from the Heart. And in that book, they are sharing how they overcame personal situations with a biblical perspective. There's a lot of scripture references in that so that you can see how God worked in and through the situations they went through. So, again, that statement that you just heard me read is that signature message. So, every book, every event is going to align back to that focal point. You got me, authors? Good. Let's go to the next. All of my podcasters, those that want to use their voice to reach the masses, I want you to put a microphone in the chat. Drop a microphone emoji in the chat. So, when it comes to podcasting, your podcast is a platform with purpose. Your message drives connection and builds community. Here's an example. I help millennial parents navigate faith and family through relatable podcast conversations so they can build homes rooted in purpose. So if a client of mine had that focal point, right? It the feeling or the flow of their messaging will be all about like that round table discussion. You know how we sit around grandma's table in the kitchen and we have those conversations about various situations that will bring us all together. That's the feeling, especially millennials. So that shows you an age group when you say millennial parents. So these are young parents, right, who are navigating their faith and, of course, building a family and having those conversations rooted around that. So the other example I want to share with you is my husband. He has a podcast, Motivate to Millions, and his podcast is focused on the 9 to 5 individual who's transitioning out of that 9 to 5 life into entrepreneurship. Now, in his building his statement, he's showing you I help. So he's helping that particular group. And what is he doing? Providing them a transition plan to what? Help them navigate full-time entrepreneurship, right? So as you listen to his podcast, you're going to gain some type of tips or information that would guide you to that result of what? Full-time entrepreneurship while transitioning out of your 9 to 5. Yeah. And so then also too, another client of mine is the Unknown Preacher LA. This podcast is focused on reaching Christians in an unorthodox way. So he's utilizing real life conversations to share the gospel message. I'm just a nobody trying to help somebody to tell anybody about him, which is Christ. And so that's that messaging that's utilized on that platform. So as you guys can see from the 3 examples, being clear on who you're talking to is going to help people gravitate towards you, right? If you just say, I help anybody, but no, zone in on a group, whether you're saying Christians, whether you're saying women, whether you're saying millennials, focus on a group so that people can understand your target. As you heard me state earlier, I'm really talking to business owners who are utilizing their expertise in 3 methods, either through a book, either through their voice, or through a signature program like coaching. Right. So you see, I'm literally talking to a business owner, but expanding their message through one of the three ways. Good? Good. All right. Podcasters. Let's go to the next. Coaches. So when I talk to coaches, your signature message is tied to your method or framework. It's how people trust you can help them. Here's an example. I help burnt out professionals create aligned coaching businesses so they can finally launch with confidence and clarity. That's just a short example there I want to share with you. Now, a client of mine focuses on speaking to women, actually mothers who are, she helps mothers create a self care plan so that they can then create more independence or create their own method of finding themselves. Because in the many roles that women have, self gets lost. And so her main focus is to basically help that woman get back to self. That's her focus. And so a lot of her conversations are around real talk about various life challenges, but also creating that intimate self care time so that you can rejuvenate, replenish, and refocus to then go back into those many hats that she shares on her platform. So, as you guys can see through the various industries, this signature message is very important so that in one sentence, remember that elevator pitch, the 30 seconds that you have on an elevator? This one sentence is your elevator pitch. So anybody who comes in contact with your brand can listen or read this one sentence and say, those are my people, or that's the brand, that's what I need to connect with, you know. And so you build your messaging, we'll get to that in day 4, where you build your pillars to help people to align. Okay, if this is helping you, please let me know in the chat. Say, it's helping me breathe. It's helping me breathe. This is just one brick that we're laying towards building like a pro. All right, let's go to the next. So now that you have a draft, let's fine tune it. I want you to ask yourself these questions. I'm going to give you a moment for each one, but I'm going to read it, pause, so you can think about it. What am I known for? What am I known for? Number 2, what topic could I speak about for free with passion? What topic could I speak about for free with passion? 3, what pain does my audience feel right now that I can solve? 3, what pain does my audience feel right now that I can solve? These 3 questions are going to help you to fine tune that signature message that we just discussed. Now, going back to our industry focuses, authors, what problem does your book solve or story illuminate? Now, I have another story for you. Yeah, I'm a storyteller at heart. So, authors, one of the authors that I can speak on right now is Tabitha Brown. Tabitha Brown has utilized her platform to share some signature messages. One of those messages is about basically having a healthier lifestyle. Another message is about following your dreams. Another message is about trying something new. And so, this particular book I'm referring to is her Do Something New. Something new that she did for 30 days. She did different hairstyles, she tried different outfits, etc., to help people go along this journey with her of trying something new. And so, that book, right? If you're a person who hasn't tried something new, think about it for a second. In the last 30 days, what have you done new? Last 30 days. Hmm. Okay. Maybe some of y'all said one or two things. Some of y'all said zero. And that's the point of her book. Her book is to help motivate you to try something new. And the reason for that is because she kind of felt stagnant and wanted to step outside of the box. And so she created and wrote out her journey. So the second question for authors is your book offering healing, insight, entertainment, or transformation? And so for her, that book was insight, but also transformation. And she even wrote a book for kids. And that book was to show, excuse me, like a transformation, almost like helping kids to get a principle out of the book, like the principle of helping others and making the best of a situation. So that's what I mean. In the summary of your book, what is the overall problem that your book is going to solve? Like, why are you writing it? And then what is it offering? Okay. Authors, good. Next, podcasters. What do listeners walk away with after each episode? Someone that I listen to for reference here is Blessed and Bossed Up. Her name is Tatum Tamia, and she has a vast number of episodes. And after each excuse me, she gives you a call to action or a book reference, something to help you realign back to her main topic. She always provides show notes so that you can actually read the transcript of what was said. And so in the end, she's offering advice, encouragement, and also just practical life steps to consider. And so that's what I want podcasters to really think about going forward. After this episode is over, what am I giving my audience? What is my call to action or CTA? We're going to talk about that more this week. But think about that. What are you offering those that are listening to you? Good? Coaches, excuse me. Are you offering strategy, support, accountability, or results? So when you think about the program that you have developed, what are your clients getting from it? Using my previous client that I shared earlier, who focuses on speaking to mothers, her end result is to have accountability and support. Accountability and support. Excuse me. Because with women, sometimes life comes with ebbs and flows. And so having someone right there to root you on, like, come on, girl, take care of yourself. Come on, let's go out and have, girl time or take some time for you, etc. That's what her focal point is. And then the transformation is self-care, taking time for self in reference to that previous client. But for you personally, what is the transformation that your clients want? Like, what do your clients want at the end of the sessions? Good? Awesome. So, overall, as you begin to fine tune your messaging, it looks more detailed. So, like an author could say, I help trauma survivors find healing through devotional memoirs so they can walk in freedom. A podcaster may say, I help purpose driven creatives share their voice through podcast interviews so they can expand their reach and impact. And a coach may say, I help Christian entrepreneurs launch their first digital offer so they can generate income while honoring their calling. So that was portion 2 of Fine Tune the Message. How do you guys feel about that? Are we ready for the next category? Let me see. Excuse me. So let's go to the next. Define your brand values. When you talk about brand values, you have integrity, creativity, Kingdom excellence, transparency. Those are just some examples when you talk about what your brand values. So I want you to pick three core values, not just from my list, but what are three core values overall? And then write a sentence about each value and how it shows up in your business. So the phrase here would be I value blank because blank. So here's how it looks. Integrity. Integrity shows up in my business through honest communication, consistent follow through, and honoring our word with clients and collaborators. That's integrity. Creativity shows up in how we develop content, design visuals, and solve problems. Always looking for fresh, impactful ways to serve our audience and bring ideas to life. So, again, just to go back one more, you need to find three words, three core values, and write a sentence that aligns with your brand. Because, again, when you build your signature messaging, when you fine tune it, you then have to define what you value because what you value goes along with how you show up in your business. And so, to conclude, for day one, I want you to post the following: your mission, which is your signature message, your three values, and a photo of your notes or your notebook. And make sure you use the hashtag Build Like a Pro Day One. When you go into the group, you will actually see our worksheet. So, our worksheet here is define your signature message. And so, with your signature message, you're going to get clear on your message, your mission, and transformation. And so, the first question here is, what are you known for? Number two, what would you talk about if no one paid you? Number three, what pain point does your audience feel right now? And then you'll do the fill in the blanks and then make sure you post that in the comments or in the chat. So, how did you all feel about day one? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to take a brief moment to review the comments. I have really enjoyed day one. I hope that it was beneficial and informative. Let's see. Awesome. Well, I have enjoyed, and like I mentioned before, as you do your homework, make sure, and I am going to share this once more. And so make sure that you share your mission, your top three brand values, and then a photo of your notes using the hashtag Build Like a Pro Day One. And so to wrap it up, what's next is we're going to be talking about your voice and your audience. Your brand isn't what you sell, it's what you stand for. And so make sure you finish your worksheet, post it before midnight, and tag your accountability partner if you have one. And I want to thank you all so much for joining me for day one of Build Like a Pro. This has been Brianna Baker of Bree Brands Consulting, and I will see you all in the next session. Take care.